Welcome back to Yang Daily. I'll be your host, Alex Cheney, bringing you all the Yang news you need to live your life right. All right, there's a lot to talk about, including some UBI news, but today we're going to focus on the election because there's some big developments going on. I'll fit the rest in tomorrow. Shout out to our Tier 3 patrons, Peter Park and Shay Meehan, as well as all our other patrons. Thank you for all your help. So the big news is that Biden has gained a great enough lead in the battleground states as mail-in ballots continue to be counted that multiple agencies have pronounced him the winner of the election. Important to remember that the real battle is not over until Trump concedes, which he has not. He is still engaging in legal battles, alleging fraud, and the Lincoln Project says that their sources in the White House have heard he will try to convince GOP state legislators to send illegitimate electors for him. There is still work to be done in defense of democracy, but it is comforting that Biden has almost certainly won the election by votes. The Senate, unfortunately, is another matter. There are 4 undecided Senate races left, and the Democrats need to flip 2 seats to reach a tie, which will leave presumptive VP Kamala as the tiebreaker. But 2 of those races in North Carolina and Alaska look to be breaking Republican, so that leaves Georgia, where neither Senate race saw either candidate reach the necessary 50% of votes, triggering runoff elections that will take place in December and January. The first race features GOP Senator Kelly Loeffler, a business executive married to the CEO of the company that runs the New York Stock Exchange. She was one of those accused of insider trading, dumping stock after a closed-door Senate briefing on the coronavirus in January. She bills herself as a loyal Trump supporter and was appointed to her seat earlier this year after her predecessor retired. She's running against Democratic challenger Raphael Warnock, an African-American pastor from Atlanta. The second race has Republican incumbent David Perdue, also a loyal Trump supporter, and cousin to Trump's agricultural secretary, Sonny Perdue, running against Democratic challenger John Ossoff, a documentary filmmaker. They are close enough that it will largely come down to voter turnout, especially among African Americans, which is where volunteering will make all the difference. I'm sure I don't need to remind you of how important flipping the Senate is. An obstructionist GOP Senate would almost certainly prevent the Biden administration from enacting any of the big reforms necessary to rescue America from its descent into faith-based reasoning, eroding quality of life, and authoritarianism. The president cannot make laws, a fact most Americans seem misinformed on. We need a functioning Congress in order to make the progress required, including recurring stimulus that would lead to UBI. The Senate races in Georgia will be our next great battle. Please visit their websites below and commit to donating your time to volunteering. Ask everyone you know to do the same. These races are for all the marbles. Even Yang recognizes this. He tweeted support for piling into the Senate races as the obvious path for enabling necessary reforms, and he urged action now and added some helpful dates. The earliest date for absentee ballots to be mailed for the runoff is November 18th. The registration deadline is December 7th. The in-person early voting begins December 14th. We need to get on this now and stay on it until it's done. And not for nothing, as Scott and Yang himself pointed out, if Georgia used ranked choice voting or star voting, these runoffs would not be necessary. Andrew used the opportunity to again plug RCV on CNN, and his co-anchors were actually interested and asked him to explain it, since a lot of their own followers expressed interest and didn't know what it was. A very good sign. Amusingly, Yang also got himself flagged by Twitter for contested information when he expressed a bit ahead of the pack that he thinks Biden is the winner of the election. And here I was told only conservatives get censored on Twitter. In these trying times, even Stephen Colbert has been weighing in and getting emotional on his show, talking about the dark path that Americans and the GOP are taking in supporting the undermining of democracy. Following Mitch McConnell refusing to comment on Trump's rabidly anti-democratic statements at a press conference, Stephen said, quote, "For evil to succeed, all that is necessary is for good men to do nothing. So say something right now, Republicans. When it comes to democracy versus fascism, you need to choose Donald Trump or the American people. Who is silent gives consent." End quote. I've always respected Stephen and Stuart because they are intelligent, educated, and patriotic. It's somewhat comforting to know that he sees the real stakes here. We do too, which is why we're all going to do our part to reach the outcome that we need. I know that my own family has been doing all that they can, for which I am very grateful, and I hope that my extended family of the Yang Gang will do likewise. Finally, since this is all rather heavy, I encourage you to check out the video link below for both a useful resource and a good laugh in the form of a short retro satirical ad by Represent Us. It features an FBI agent explaining what you would need to do in order to swing an election via voter fraud, and you'll likely get a good chuckle out of it. I know I did. And that'll do it for today's Yang Daily. Do a bit of celebrating for Biden's victory and votes, but stay on message until the election is truly over. Visit Ossoff and Warnock's sites and see what you can do to flip the Senate. Check out the clips from Colbert and Represent Us. Help recruit other organizations to the cause and get everyone to sign the UBI petition. Flood Congress and Trump with calls, tweets, and letters using the Resist Bot or Income Movement easy contacts below. If you need help, consult Humanity Forward, the Income Movement Aid Database, the Mission Asset Fund, United Way, or the H3 podcast thread. And don't forget to Yang Daily.